Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and I did a thing with Amadeus Cho. I still have not awakened him. I'm not sure if I'm going to awaken him, but what I decided to do instead, I took off his CTP of Patience. This was part of my spend 10,000 crystals to get the crystal event items, and I slapped on a CTP of Energy. Now, I didn't go as far as a Rage because we know Rage is amazing. We know Rage is best in slot, and it sort of occurred to me that Rage is probably the best for his particular rotation. So rather than giving him a Rage and showing you how amazing it is, I was like, okay, let me give him an Energy and try to make that work. And if it works, awesome, it's more budget build. If it doesn't work, then it highlights, you know, the limitations of certain character designs, and it also highlights why we need more than one custom gear slot for every character, like we have 3 ISO 8 slots for every character, and how you can take advantage of that. You can see I have multiple ISO 8 slots with Hulk. So the rest of the build is pretty similar. I haven't changed too much about it, but I did go ahead and give him attack speed and crit rate Urus. I didn't have to give him crit damage Urus. I also swapped his tactical belt roll from crit damage to crit rate because his CTP of Energy is giving him 35% crit damage. So now he is rocking capped cooldown, ignore defense, crit damage, and then 56% crit rate, which then gets bumped up by 15%. It goes up to almost 72% with about 50% dodge and 125% attack speed. So he's got a lot of stats. Keep that in mind. And he's ranked 355. So now we're going to take him back into some content just to give you guys a refresher of what he was able to do. I was able to complete stage 50 of Proxima without any strikers here in, what was this? Oh, we got interrupted there, but we did it here. I have the video here up on my screen. We did it in about, let's see here, it was about 2 minutes. It was about 2 minutes. A minute and 40 seconds. We were able to do stage 50 with Nick Fury and Valkyrie and no strikers. This was with a CTP of Patience. Patience. So now we're going to go in and try this again, essentially comparing a CTP of Patience to a CTP of Energy, and then we'll do some other things as well with him. We'll take him back into Giant Boss Raid and see how he does there. Against Master Mold. Actually, you know what? Master Mold might be different depending on the day, but he'll definitely be faster. Against Master Mold, he'll definitely be faster. But here's the thing. Well, let's take a look. We're not going to drop the buff because of it overwrites when Nick Fury's buff goes away. It overwrites Amadeus Cho's third skill immunity buff. Now here we go. When you get things right, the damage is very, very good. Okay, as you can see here, the damage is very, very high. But here's the thing. From the testing I've done, you can't really change the rotation. Changing the rotation basically puts you in harm's way, and that's not really cool. So you end up sometimes proccing on 3, which obviously doesn't do very much damage. And then when you proc on 3, you're essentially stacking the all defense down to try and proc on 5, going around the next time. So I mean, that's really good. As you can, like, that's really good, right? This is like best case scenario. I kid you not, this is like best case scenario, which is awesome. But here we procced on 4, so we don't get nearly as much damage. The damage is good, but it's not nearly as bursty. We're gonna pop 5. We have to sort of stall a little bit. So, all right, we're gonna have to pause this here. Okay, so that was, you know, it's about a minute, right? So I think best case scenario, he finishes this in about 50 seconds, like best case scenario. So I basically doubled my time. Now that is really good. Yes, it is. But here's the thing. You're doing the exact same rotation regardless. You're doing 3, you don't cancel 3, and then you go into 4, you don't cancel 4, and then you go into 5, you don't cancel 5. The reason why you do that is because he only has 1 skill with immunity, which is 3, and then 4 is mostly a non-iframe, so you cannot use 4 without 3's buff, otherwise he will die. He will get one-shotted. And then 5 is a full iframe, but you can't cancel 5 because once you cancel, you're out of iframe. There's no invincibility, there's no guard hit, nothing. So you can rearrange the order of skills. So sometimes I've tried, let's say, for example, here, we're going to open with 5 and try to just proc on 5, regardless of what happens here. So we're just going to try to proc on 5. Whatever happens, happens. Okay, we procced on 5, great. The damage is not bad. There's no all defense down, so it's not as spicy. And then we're going to go into 3, off proc, and then ideally we proc on 4 on the explosion. There you go. And that's that's really good damage, right? You're like, whoa, Alex, whoa, okay, bro. Yeah, you're right. That is really good damage. But if you miss, right? If you like, okay, we're gonna try here, proc on 5. No proc, no proc, no. There's a proc. Oh no, still no proc. Still, there's a proc. So right at the end. So now we're in a weird situation. The proc is already activated. We got interrupted by an iframe. Now we're gonna have to try to proc on 5 again, right? We this time we did proc. So if you proc at the beginning of 5, the damage is actually very good. But you can see here, so now we're hoping that we don't proc sort of at the beginning of 4. We want to proc at the end of 4. If you can proc at the end of 4, ideally, the damage is nutty. You can see here. Right? I'm trying to press 3 here. But we're already behind, actually. So this has to be worse. We're already behind. We were at 1 bar. So, yeah. You really can't deviate the rotation. 3 gives you the accumulation, which you need. And then 4 needs 3, right? 3 gives you that juicy accumulation. 4 is no iframe. It's like sort of a little bit of an iframe, but mostly not an iframe. The heal is there, but that's not going to save you. And then 5's a full iframe, but there's no all defense down. Now, if there was all defense down on 5 instead of 4, or if the all defense down, he only has it on... You know what? He only has it on 4. Yeah, if he had all defense down on 5 and 4, it would be a totally different story. But because of that fact, you basically can't change the rotation much. So what I'm trying to say is I don't really like a CTP of energy on him. Now we can go to, I think we can go to stage 70. I'm going to show you one of his highest stages. This is unawakened, so it's still really impressive. Don't get me wrong, it's still very impressive. But I just wonder if you'd rather just have him, you know, it's not a sexy build. People might laugh at you, but maybe you would just rather give him a CTP of Transcendence or a CTP of Patience and do stage 50 and just blow through stage 50 in like a minute and a half, rather than you know, going all in on the build and then he goes a little bit higher, but the rotation is the same. So sometimes you're gonna have really good runs, okay, but sometimes you're gonna have bad runs because sometimes the proc, the proc here is at the end of 5. It's not bad. Okay, we did 3. Now we're trying to proc on 4, but we might proc early. Well, we're getting kind of lucky. We're getting actually pretty lucky. This actually looks really good. I'm kind of happy. What usually happens is the opposite of this. Usually, what I do off stream looks a lot nicer, a lot better than what I do on stream or on recording. Here we procced on 3, which is bad, but we're just doing this to set up sort of our next proc here. And then we want to proc on 5 with the all defense down. This should be good damage, but we're going to get interrupted by the spears, so we have to run away. But yeah, I feel like there's a little bit of consistency issues if you're not going to use a rage. So it really boils down to you know, the few different options that you have available to you. So we're going to do 3. Okay, we got interrupted again. Okay, I mean, this is not... this doesn't matter what obelisk you have. It's okay. We're just going to proc on 5 here because we don't really have an option. We don't want to be left open with 4, so the damage here is going to be bad. We proc at the end of 5. It's okay. We're going to drop that all defense down and set ourselves up. So ideally, yeah. See, this was late. We were late here. That's why the damage is not good. The damage is not that good. Ideally, we got interrupted, so nothing. But ideally, you want, as the 4th skill is falling into the 5, or actually probably after the 4th skill has fallen, from the 5, you want to cancel into the 5 and go for it. But here, see, we're proccing all over the place, and this is kind of like, this is the other side of the coin, where things go badly, and you're just like, where's the damage? Why isn't he doing any damage? We're not doing we're not doing much damage because the proc is all over the place. And yeah, so in this situation, the damage is not much better than a CTP of Patience. It's really not. It's better because he's got an extra 30% crit damage, but you could just give him, I mean, you could give him a crit damage obelisk at that point, right? Besides, you know, going with a rage. So, I mean, big damage here, but we get ignored by the frenzy. So yeah, I like it. I'm probably going to keep the energy on him just because he's a fun character to play and it's interesting, but it definitely feels awkward at times, and it's kind of strange to go from a CTP of Patience to a CTP of Energy and not change your rotation, right? So sort of the whole time you're playing him, you're like, man, if that was a rage, this damage right here would be crazy. But it's off proc, so you're just getting the chain hit, right? It's just not good enough. Now, the Master Mold boss today is combat, so we're not going to have an advantage or disadvantage, so that's okay. And we're going to simulate the exact same team we had before, which was Cho with the leadership of, oh, not you. And then we brought along Wasp just so that people don't kick us out for not having a debuff. So let's check it out. Okay, here we go. Oh, man, he's slow. Here we go, rolling in just behind Apocalypse here. We didn't do any damage to any of these bots. We got a pretty difficult team to compete with. We got a tier 3 Apocalypse and a tier 3 Professor X. So this is good company to be in as far as challenging scores are concerned. And we're not doing too well right now. Okay, that's okay. We just want to see his damage compared to last time, right? And actually, we might get... No, we're fine. We're just not doing that much damage. Okay. Yeah, we did about 7 million damage. We're not doing quite enough damage, but that's okay. Let's move on to let's see here. Yeah, this might not be... We might need a much worse team. I think the team we got is just way too good. Let's see if we can put down some damage here. No. All right, let's queue up with a different team. All right, let's queue up with a different team here. I'm not trying to, you know, make my Cho look better than he is, but if you take a look at the old team, after 3.5 minutes, the next best player after me had 12 million damage. Whereas in that team there, in like 30 seconds, those tier 3 characters were popping out like 10 million each. So it just doesn't give Cho enough time to really showcase anything at all. Like, he can barely get off enough damage. It's going to make the energy look worse than the patience, which we know it's not worse. But oh, you know what? The Master Mold in the previous video from 3 days ago was also a combat type. So this is actually a really good comparison. Okay, we're gonna get the proc there on. Okay, the energy there. Okay, we did about 16 million damage. This is much better. And the Sharon Rogers did about 14 million. Okay, I think we want to proc on 5. That's what we just did there. So we're gonna do this here, and then we're just gonna hope to proc on 5. And not bad, not bad. Oh, we dodged that. That was lucky. Let's see, 25. Barely. We need that accumulation. 26. There it is, 30. Oh, she passed me right at the end. What? Wasn't I at 30? I got bounced down to 27. That was so weird. Okay, well, we did almost the same amount of damage in way less time. So obviously the energy is much better. You can see here as a comparison. So that was 90 seconds. I did 27 million, and it said that I did 30 million, but then suddenly my damage was taken away, which is kind of weird. Here I did 33 million in 3.5 minutes. So if you go back and rewind to when I was at 27. Oh, maybe I didn't show it off when it was at 27. No, yeah, I definitely didn't show it off when I was at 27. Bummer. Yeah, if I'd kept that open the whole time, maybe. But yeah, being at 33 with 3.5 minutes means that I'm 2 minutes behind, and I was only 6 million ahead on damage. So 6 million damage in 2 minutes is really bad. So I imagine that at that point, with a minute 20, with a minute 30 gone, I was probably only at around 15 million, maybe less. So this is probably double the damage, if not more than double. But, you know, I don't know. The chain hit damage is nice. You know, the chain hit damage on the CTP of Energy is nice. But I wonder if a crit damage, crit rate 200 proc, or a crit damage 200 proc, I wonder if that would not be better. Because let's go ahead and just... All right, that's not going to work. Hold up. Let me just go over to Hulk. Let me see how many hits, right? Is the chain hit damage really doing that much? Now, yes, I had what's his name for that fight there, the Abomination, to bump up my chain hit by another 20%. So we were up at like 50%. But let's just see here. How many hits are really on this skill to take advantage of chain hit? 4, 5, 6, 7, 12, 13, 26. Yeah, that's pretty good. What about 5? Let's see here. Again, this is if you proc at the very beginning of the fifth skill, right? That's 33. Okay, that's quite a bit higher. 33. That's like almost 10 hits higher. Okay, not bad. And then 3 has like what, 5 hits? 2. Yeah, so risking the proc on 2, and then, you know, risking the proc on 2, or sorry, on 3. I keep saying 2. Risking the proc on 3, and then going into 4 to try to get that chain hit damage to then stack the all defense down. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you're gonna get similar production out of an obelisk, and you're gonna save yourself the energy if you don't want to go all out and give him a rage. So a very interesting character, a fun character to play. I would say he's definitely a different pace of character than any other character in the game. To be like perfectly honest with you, I feel as though, you know, you have to sort of watch his moves and let them play out, and I really enjoy that, because a lot of characters nowadays in Marvel Future Fight, it's just a spam fest. You're just canceling your skills as fast as possible. Compare him to Namor, where you literally spend a second or less. I think the skill that you spend the most time watching the animation for, besides Sea of Fire, is his Kraken attack, where he summons the tentacles, and that's just because it has a slow animation, right? He has to raise his trident, and then the octopus arms come up, but everything else you cancel within like a second. So he's a completely different character, which is why I've enjoyed building him up, and I don't mind giving him an energy. But for you out there that are like more budget build and more, you know, efficiency, I would say unawakened, I would just give him an obelisk. If you're going to go all the way, has to be rage. And then I imagine with a rage, Atlas Tactics is going to hit like an absolute truck. Maybe if I awaken him, that will change his rotation enough where then I won't have that timing problem. That's a possibility. I haven't thought of that. That's a possibility. But you'd still want to open with 3, right? So you'd still do 3, 6. Let that play out. You have to let it play out for the most of the animation, because you need to see Luna come in and freeze the pillars from wave. And then you'd probably do 5, because otherwise you're going to be open to damage, I believe. But maybe it has invincibility for 10 seconds, so maybe you could just go into 4. Maybe you could. I don't know what the maximum skill looks like when it's all, you know, completely maxed out. Can I see here, actually? I don't think I can see. But let me just see if it's possible. No, it's going to show me the level 1 version of the skill. Yeah. Okay. So let me know what you guys think of Amadeus Cho. Should I awaken him? I honestly don't know what to do. I haven't awakened a character since Mystique, and I really don't feel like it. And I have a ton of materials. I could probably awaken 2 characters minimum. But yeah, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you think of Amadeus Cho. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.